Welcome back, everyone, to the A.D.D. show, where we're not always right, but we're never wrong. As always, I'm Mark.
And I'm Hans, and on today's show, it's Week 11 in the NFL. And of course, you know we're going to talk all about the games, but this week and every episode going forward, me and Mark have decided we're going to revamp the show a little bit. Starting this week, we're not only going to talk about our notable games, but we're going to start having some open sports talk. Towards the end, a little bit more than half the session, we just want to talk to you guys, have guests on to just talk about whatever topics they want to talk about. But quickly, before we get into it, I want to go over some notable games this weekend. Number 9, Indiana is at number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Clemson at Florida State. Florida at Vanderbilt. I didn't write down what rank Florida was. I forgot.
4.
They are 4. Okay. Thank you. North Alabama at number 8, Brigham Young. Number 7, Cincinnati at UCF. Number 10, Wisconsin at number 19, Northwestern. Number 22, Texas at Kansas. Kentucky at number 1, Alabama. Mississippi State at number 13, Georgia, And the big night game is the Bedlam Series featuring number 14, Oklahoma State, and number 18, Oklahoma. That's right. Oklahoma State's ranked higher than Oklahoma.
How's Oklahoma rated?
Dude, as a Big 12 fan, I don't want to talk about it. They get so much love. Texas gets so much love. It's ridiculous. Also, one last thing. We're going to see some NCAA basketball this week, bud.
All right.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm all right. I'm good. We got Logan on today. Logan was a guest in week 2 of the NFL season, and he's back on today for the first time since you guys had the NASCAR series. So, Logan, how's it been going?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good,
great,
good.
Man.
Looking forward to changing things up a little bit. We got the Thursday night game tonight. We got Cardinals-Seahawks, and that's going to propel us right into our first topic of the NFC West. So my first question to both of you is this. Have we ever seen top to bottom as competitive a division as this in the last X amount of years? Like, I can't think of any division that's ever been this tight, where you can arguably say 3 teams are easily better than most of the other teams in their division.
I want to say this real quick, and that is no. I can't think of anything at my age. Obviously, I'm not the oldest in the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not as old as you, Mark. But I want to say one thing. The 49ers, right? They're in 4th place.
Yep.
Projected to finish first this year. Bunch of injuries. Could you imagine if they weren't hurt, this division's potential?
If they weren't hurt, these teams, this would be.
Oh my gosh!
It's scary how good this division is.
It's just ridiculous. Go. I'll let Logan talk a little bit. Go ahead, bud.
No, I agree. I don't think there has been a division as good as this in the recent years. But the only division that I can think of, and I don't remember the exact years it was, it's the AFC North when Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore were always knocking on the playoff door and beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
So that's the only one that I can think of. But yeah, this NFC West, might as well just call them the NFC Best. Like, they're just insanely good.
Yeah,
all 3 of those teams will make the playoffs.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think all 3 of those teams are going to make the playoffs, and I think there is a chance for all 4 to be able to make the playoffs now, right?
San Francisco's got an
they're going to need to win
shot.
some games.
Yeah,
they're going to need to.
They have an outside shot. But my thing is this. All right, so the big question is this: is you have the Rams, the Cardinals, and Seattle, all 6-3. Okay, they all play each other again. Some of them play each other twice. Who's coming out of it? Who's winning the division?
I'll let Logan go.
I still think it's going to be Seattle. I know Russell Wilson has been on a slump the past few weeks with all his turnovers. I think he's turned, 10 turnovers in the last 4 games, which is very unlike him. But I think he's going to get that fire under his butt, and he's going to win some games, and I think they're going to go pretty far in the playoffs. But I would also not be surprised if the Cardinals will take the cake. Because the way I see it with the Cardinals, you have to stop Kyler Murray to beat the Cardinals. And every game that they've won, Kyler Murray has absolutely pretty much did what he wanted to do.
So I want to throw this out there before you answer. It's on the Kyler Murray thing. Do you know, we talked about this before the show started, and I mentioned this in our group chat, and not a lot of people really clung on to it. I think we were talking about something else too. But Kyler Murray's stats through halfway through this time last year, where Lamar Jackson was a unanimous MVP, Kyler Murray's stats are better than Lamar Jackson's stats at this point last year, and not a single person is talking about him for MVP.
Do you want to know why, before I tell you who I think is going to win this division?
Because he's really good.
Well, 1, he's really good, but 2, the Ravens have this flair to them that NFL experts love to just drool all over the Ravens. The simple fact is people love hyping up the Ravens when they beat 12 teams a year with 4 wins. So Lamar Jackson's record against bad teams is like Dak's for a few years. It's like, congratulations, you lose against the top 3 teams every year. Yeah. And then so it's like people are like, well, Lamar's numbers are good. But dude, Arizona's playing good teams. They're playing their own division, which is stacked. And Lamar, like you lost to good teams. You're losing to Steelers. You lost to the Chiefs, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know why Kyler Murray's not getting any love. I have no idea. But Kyler Murray's balling, and no disrespect to them. I think they have the potential to go farther, but the most complete team to me is I'm still going to ride the Rams for winning this division. I think they're the most complete offensively, defensively. I think their quarterback. I think Jared Goff is more mature than Kyler Murray. Doesn't mean he's better. I just think he's less likely to lose you the game. Overall, I think McVay's a better coach. I think overall, top to bottom, I think the Rams will they could tie, but the head-to-head will go a long way, and I think the Rams have it right now, right?
They're all jumbled.
It's so like
hard to know. I think Cardinals play the Rams twice coming up.
Oh, so they haven't played yet.
Right.
So
they play the Seahawks. They've all played the 49ers.
But all these teams could have 10 wins going into the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't mean any of them are any better. I just think Seattle's dark horse. It's going to hurt them. It's going to be their Achilles heels. That defense is atrocious.
Yes.
And with Russell Wilson not playing like a god right now, it's going to be tough.
My thing is Seattle's got to go back to what wins them football games, which is running the ball. It's not let Russ cook.
Hasn't Carson been injured the past couple games?
He has, and Carlos Hyde's been injured, so they haven't had a running back worth of salt. Now, I agree with you, but I disagree with you, Christian, on the Rams. Goff scares the hell out of me because every once in a while in a blue moon, Goff will have that egg where it seems like he doesn't remember how to play quarterback in the NFL, and that scares me. Yes, they are the most all-around healthy and solid team. Better coach than Arizona, not a better coach than Seattle.
Oh, no. I was just comparing just Arizona and the Rams.
Track record gives it to Seattle. Up-and-coming team is Arizona.
But
Arizona,
the one in the middle of both of them
is the Rams. Yeah. And I'm leaning towards whoever wins tonight. Okay, so my heart is saying the Cardinals are going to come out of this division because I have the Cardinals winning tonight. I think it's going to be a good game like the last game. I think Arizona coming off that win, it's that momentum's just going to carry them, and it's just going to be good. They are so hurt defensively, though. Their defensive line is a bunch of practice squad dudes, and they cannot get pressure on the quarterback, which is very scary. But their linebackers and secondary are solid. I think Seattle and the Rams are probably going to go farther, if that makes any sense out of my argument.
Yeah, I feel like Seattle's offense is good, but if their offense...
Russell Wilson is an experienced veteran at this point.
Yes, and so is Pete Carroll, and that team's only going to get healthier offensively, and it scares me.
But I think when
do.
your offense and defense are balanced, we're talking top 10 to top 15, nothing spectacular. Rams, Cardinals. I mean, obviously the Cardinals offense is in the top 10, but you have Seattle, who for weeks was in the top 5. You have Seattle's defense, which is 28th in the league. Mm-hmm. I think when it comes to the playoffs, all 3 facets are your coach, special teams, defense, and offense. And I think the problem is Seattle's Achilles is going to get them when they have to play better teams in the playoffs. And I just don't think Seattle has the defense to stop if they had to play Aaron Rodgers.
See,
these other teams do.
Out of these 3 teams, so I'm going to answer this question after I ask it, okay? And then I want to hear your guys. Out of these 3 teams, the only team I don't have faith in making the playoffs. So if you had to tell me which team wasn't going to make it just because, I'm going to say Seattle. And it's because of that defense. And it's because Russell Wilson is losing you more games right now than he's winning. And so that's why I pick the Seahawks not to make the playoffs. If you held me a gun to my head and said, out of these 3 teams in the NFC, who's not making the playoffs? I'd say the Seahawks.
As in, they're all probably going to get 10 wins. But what you're saying is if they can only have 2 teams make the playoffs out of this division, what of those 3 wouldn't? I'm going to make mine quick. I think it's Seattle as well. Okay. If you had to tell me, that's just me because I think the defense is their liability. Nothing against Russell in that offense. The offense is great. Just that defense is a liability to me.
Yep. Logan?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I don't want to agree with you guys, I think it would be Seattle, but I was just looking at all 3 teams' schedule, and they all have very, very easy schedules outside of their division opponents. But, yeah, I think Seattle's going to make it far in the playoffs, but you know what? I'm going to say the Rams are going to make it out of the 3. I just think Russell Wilson is just too good and too experienced to not make the playoffs at this point.
Yeah. Now, to tie this whole conversation up, I would like to thank Russell Wilson for making me look better in my prediction in the beginning of the season that he was overrated. Now, I did come back to earth and I said he wasn't overrated. He's still a top 5 quarterback in the league. But this is why I don't like Russell Wilson, because he will have stretches, and this is why he's never been an MVP, because he has stretches where he is not reliable. And he tries too much, and it's just costs you games, and that's why, I said what I said. Now, he is a top 5 quarterback in the league, but this is why I have an argument to say that he's not, and it's an argument to say this is why he's never won the MVP.
I think something with Seattle. I feel like, I know they like Chris Carson a lot. I just feel like they're the kind of team that needs to rely on running the ball more. And I feel like they should be the team that should make the trade for a running back we'll talk about later. I feel like they're just a team that, I know that sounds like a lot, I know we're joking. People don't know what we're talking about yet. But that's kind of situation where you can't put the ball in Russ's hands because he's not that kind of quarterback. He's not Tom Brady. And no offense, we're just saying Tom Brady's the kind of guy to get it done when it really matters. And I know Russell's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But he needs to run the ball more because Russell Wilson is not a 400-yard guy. He's not. I mean, same thing with Dak. When he threw 400 yards, they didn't win. So you just got to stick to your roots. And Seattle's roots is running it down your throat, play action, short dump offs to your running back. And they won for years doing that. Yeah. So now that they're playing like Dallas of the first 4 weeks, look what's happening. Yeah. They've looked really bad the last few weeks. So.
Yeah. The next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to transition into another division that we all find very intriguing.
Hey, Mark, can I add one more thing real quick?
Go ahead, bud.
You can just be real quick. I know. I will admit, it's the whole DK Metcalf.
Here we go.
I've been wanting to talk about this.
Jalen Ramsey.
Dude, I totally got out of this. I don't want to talk about it.
Answer me this.
Yes.
Would you consider Jalen Ramsey and Patrick Peterson top 3 cornerbacks in the entire NFL? Yes or no?
Top 5.
Yeah. I mean,
okay. Top 3, top 5, sure.
I wouldn't put Peterson. I wouldn't put Peterson in there.
In the NFL, and like Christian said, DK is not the number 1 receiver on his team. Why are they lined up against DK Metcalf 30 times each game?
Because he's the deep ball threat.
I will tell you this right now. You know why? To shut him up. Yeah. That's Jalen Ramsey is that dude. Jalen Ramsey said, you know what, coach? Put me on him. I am sick of hearing about him. I am sick of everybody in the league saying he's the best wide receiver in football. Put me on him, and I will show you. And that's what he did. He didn't. And I will say Lockett is a better all-around wide receiver than DK. Okay, DK is a physical specimen.
And what he does really well.
But he's not a complete wide receiver. And
but I literally sent you a video of the game against San Francisco when he had 12 catches.
And how many games that DK has played in the NFL, and I asked Justin this, has he had over 5 catches? How many?
I think he averages like 4 to 5 a game.
He averages 4 catches. He averages 4 catches a game. And he's targeted more.
Not all of them are deep balls. If you watch the videos, the video I sent you, 1 out of the 11 routes was a deep ball. Everything else, he was catching behind the line of scrimmage. He was doing slants. He was doing crossing routes. He was doing outs curls. He was doing it all, and he was getting great separation on the receivers.
And so my whole thing is this, though. He's been in the league for a year and a half, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's 1 game where he caught 12 balls. Okay, one game he caught 12 balls. He averages 4 catches a game.
That's like Corey Davis from Tennessee.
He averages 4 catches a game and 20 yards per catch.
Can I say something though?
So what I'm saying is this: if he was a possession wide receiver and he could run those routes, you would do it every single game, and you would throw him the ball all the time. He would have 15 targets and he'd have 10 catches, just like Julian Edelman, just like Julio Jones, just like Calvin Ridley,
DeAndre Hopkins,
Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah. And I will say this, they're comparing him to Megatron. Megatron had 15 targets and 10 catches a game.
But that's because Megatron was the only receiver on the Lions.
Okay.
But that's what we're trying to tell you.
I'm not saying overall DK's a top 5 receiver. I'm not saying anything about fantasy stats. But what I'm saying, what I was trying to get my point across was, statistically, the stats is he's a top 5 receiver statistically. Not as of before last week, he was definitely a top 5 receiver statistically, not overall statistically.
So can I say something to that?
And he is not just a deep threat. I will never agree with you guys that saying he's just a one-trick pony, but he clearly was running different routes.
So I want to
getting yak after the catch.
I want to say something to you. You just said that. You said, well, he's been putting up the last best and top 5 numbers all season. Well, I look at it like this, and I hate to be the person to beat around the dead horse, but you look at somebody like Dak Prescott the first 5 weeks, put up number 1 numbers. What happened? Still not a top 5 quarterback. That's my situation. It's nothing against DK. I like DK. I never said much when y'all went rambling in your group because I didn't want to be the another one involved throwing gas on the fire. But I have nothing against DK. I think he's very talented. But when it comes to the best wide receiver on every team, I'd say DK is better than probably the bottom 8 to 10 teams in the league's number 1 wide receivers. Maybe 5 to 10 teams, right? Mm-hmm. But on his own team, he's not the best wide receiver, all-around talented player. He gets less target share than Thank you, Lockett. He gets less target share than Tyler Lockett. And when you're going around other teams, you want to go down to the Amari Coopers, okay? You want to go to the A.J. Browns. You go to the next team. You go to the next team. You go to the Julios. He's sitting around 15th in the league just because his numbers say he's top 5. Physically, when he goes up against these number 1 corners, number 2, even top 10 corners, he's getting shut down, which makes Lockett get all the target share.
And you
have to beat these one-on-ones.
And I don't know if anybody watched any of that game.
Which one?
On Sunday.
Okay, I did.
Every time he did something that wasn't a post or a slant and everything, Ramsey was at the spot before he was. And that says something to me. Now, yes, Ramsey is the best. I still think Ramsey's the best cornerback in the NFL.
Better than Gilmore?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
I agree with you.
He's physical. He tackles. He's, and I just think he was forgotten about when he went to LA. He was forgotten about. But I still think he's the best. It's just, when I look at DK, I honestly see, I need to see more. I need to see a lot more.
And it's only a year and a half in, so we can give him a little bit more time.
But when he was coming out of college, every single person said, he's going to beat you straight, but you're going to beat him to the ball if he doesn't run straight.
He was not even, as a college fan myself, and I know Logan is as well, he wasn't even considered a top 5 round pick up until about a week before when someone saw a picture of him without his shirt on and went,
exactly,
that dude looks like a bull.
He was a physical specimen that is... And I will say this.
He only had like 8 catches in 1 year in his senior year.
So, Logan, I will tie this all up with this, and I just want to ask you this, and I want you to be honest. He's a physical specimen. I will take nothing away from his skill set as being the most dominant looking and fast, can jump, strong, and he's just like Lamar. They're physically more athletic than the next person, but that doesn't make them good at what they do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, but I know me, you, Christian, and Nate, we're not going to see eye to eye on it. I just wanted to bring up my point.
Oh yeah, no, and you
can hear my point.
But, we talked about it last week with Nate, and we knew you were going to say something this week, and so it's all good. I mean, you're right. We won't agree until he does something to change my mind.
Yes, I mean, I want you guys to really watch tonight's game and just watch DK, because I know I'm going to do the same. And then after tonight, then we can. I'm either going to shut up about it, or you guys are going to shut up about it.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine.
I only talk about it because it's on the show. I don't.
There's are the other receivers that I would take over him.
Okay.
My boy Scary Terry.
All right.
Scrub.
I'm
just kidding.
So next is a very intriguing division for different ways. You've got the AFC East. Okay, everybody said at the beginning of the season Buffalo was going to run away with this division. Okay, now Miami has had their bye. Buffalo has their bye this week. If Miami wins this week, they're tied for first. Okay, and if the Patriots win this week, the Patriots are only 2 games out. Okay, at 5-5, and the Patriots' schedule is very easy. Buffalo and Miami have to play each other again, and I think twice. If somebody wants to look that up for me, I can't remember if they've...
Buffalo beat them in week 2 by 3.
In week 2, okay. So you have another game coming up against each other.
And that's the last game of the season, week 17.
I'm going to say this right now. Out of all the teams that are in the playoffs, Miami's the only team I don't want to play. I'm going to say that right now because Miami's defense and special teams is scary. Their offense is only getting better.
I mean, they're there, dude. I get he's still young and raw. This is the difference you have to take, and I'll let Logan go because I'm going to make mine quick, is that the Dolphins are just on another level right now where they're playing really well, but this is the difference. This is only, 3 games into 2 now? Mm-hmm. How long is it going to keep up? Now, I'm not saying he's not good. I don't think that. But when he gets into the playoffs, it's a different breed. Mm-hmm. I think in a couple of years, it'll be a different team. I think right now they're riding this cocaine high they're on right now, and that's fine. But I think eventually it's going to be like you're going to play against Patrick Mahomes, and you said you don't want to play the Dolphins. I don't want to play Mahomes in the playoffs. I don't want to play Big Ben in the playoffs. These are teams I don't want to play. And if somehow the Pats make it, I don't want to play Bill Belichick in the playoffs. So I'm not saying Dolphins aren't good, but I want to take the reins off their Cinderella story a little bit. Okay. I don't see it being a deep playoff run this year, even if they have 10, 15, 11 wins, but they will be there soon.
Okay, so before Logan jumps in on this, I just have a question for you. Is this the most surprising thing that has happened in the NFL this year? As far as, even the Texans being 2 wins, the Cowboys being horrible, but the Dolphins being 6-3, first place in the tied for first place in the division.
To me, I'm going to make it a close tie before we let Logan talk about this division. To me, it's a really close tie between the Dallas Cowboys and Miami. And the only reason I'm saying that is because we talked about it before the season started. I liked Brian Flores. I told you word for word many times, he's a team builder. Mm-hmm. He's going to build this team. He's going to get the right pieces. And it's going to take a little bit. It's taking a little faster than I thought. Yep. I'm surprised they're doing this well. I'm surprised they took Fitzpatrick out for Tua. I'm surprised. But to say I'm blown away, I knew this was coming. I told you picking up Byron Jones was huge. Picking up this guy was huge. That guy was huge. I knew it was going to work out. I didn't expect Dallas to have 2 wins. So to me, it's very close. But I'm very proud of Miami, and I'm not a Miami fan. Okay, they're impressing me.
All right,
but go ahead, Logan. You can talk about the AFC East now.
Yeah, I think Miami is going to come out on top, but I still think Buffalo will make the division.
Okay.
Or the playoffs. But I'm looking at Miami's schedule, and their next 3 weeks are against Denver, the Jets, and Cincinnati. And then they play the Chiefs, and that's when I think they're going to be brought back down to earth because the next 3 weeks should be quote-unquote cakewalks for that. There's the defense, and then so Tua is not going to need to do all that much to stay in the game. Okay. 2-3 games he hasn't had a turnover yet, which is incredible for his first 3 starts, no turnovers. But I think Tua is legit, but I think they're only going to lose 1 more game, maybe 2 more games this year. But yeah, I think they're legit and they're in the right direction. And they have 3 first-round draft picks, and one of them is going to be in the top 10. And if they hit on these draft picks, they are going to be a force to reckon with. Yeah.
I have a question I want to ask you two. Okay. This is coming from the guy who likes these rookie quarterbacks. Obviously, I'm a Herbert fan. I just want to rub that in there. And you're a Burrow fan, right? And I know probably Logan likes all 3 of these rookie quarterbacks. So for when Tua came in, let's say Tua plays the rest of the season about as good as he's playing. Mm-hmm. Burrow does what he's doing, and let's say Herbert kind of does what he's been doing. Does Tua get the chance? Should he be considered in rookie quarterbacks of the year? Should he be considered? He came in too late?
No, came in too late.
So let's say he takes – okay, I just want to – because to me, no matter what Tua does, if he balls out, to me it's strictly still between possibly even the wide receiver out of Minnesota. But to me, it's between Burrow and Herbert because they both started week 1 and 2. Yep. To me, I think they've been playing longer. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
I think he could jump into the top 5.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think he can jump in top 5. I think Burrow, Herbert, Jefferson, and Higgins are the 4 top offensive rookies. And then you have to think about it. CEH is in there. James Robinson is in there. This rookie class offensively has made an impact.
Even Swift is doing well.
About Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson, too.
Swift. You're thinking about all these guys that have technically started every game this year. And
technically, some of these people are playing better than the quarterbacks are.
Right.
But it usually is going to go to a quarterback.
Logan just named 3. We named 3 or 4 running backs. He came in too late. And I don't think he's going to put up those stats. I don't think he's going to put up huge numbers. I don't think they're going to ask him to. So, no, I say no to that. Okay. I say no on the offensive category. Okay. But this division to me is...
Do you think the Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, and the Bills, out of those 4 teams, and we're going to ask the same question probably later, we talked about it, for the next 5 years, Do you think Miami is the first one to get to the Super Bowl out of all those 5? No matter what the Jets do, if they get Lawrence or whatever, do you think they have the closest chance for both of you? Mark's thinking. Do you want to go first, Logan?
I think it's going to come down between Miami and Buffalo. Buffalo, for the past few years, have been right on the brink of it, and they just need to get over the playoff hump. Like they've made it. They broke that streak a few years ago from like not making it for almost 20 years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So they finally got over that. They just need to find that like 1 or 2 more key pieces to get over that hump. But it's going to come down between Miami and Buffalo.
That's a hard question, Mark. You're struggling. I can see it in your face.
Yeah, you got to knock the Jets out of it. Okay,
I think so too, because I still don't think they're going to get Lawrence. That's just me.
I think Buffalo's window is this year or next year because they're coming up on a lot of money owed soon, and that's what scares me. Where
that quarterback's going to want to get paid.
Yeah, and where Miami is not going to have to pay really anybody that they've drafted in the next
80 million
3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
And the X factor is the Patriots. Okay, I will say this: the X factor is the Patriots.
What are they going to do?
They're still young, and they're proving they can win big games.
And they traded their old guys away.
And the train is just going to run. Now the X factor is, can the Patriots find a quarterback, and can the Patriots find a couple wide receivers that are actually going to be able to play? Now, if that is the case, I will pick the Patriots over any one of these teams simply because of coaching. So Belichick will figure out a way to beat the Bills and beat the Dolphins.
So kind of like Logan just did. In your head, Flores team building. Bills with the 2 years they got in the next 2 years. Patriots knowing how Belichick is. 5 years. Who do you think goes back in the next 5 years?
Patriots.
Okay. That's all I want to know.
I'm going to say the Patriots. And
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Like, look at the Patriots' schedule to end the year. Patriots could be, with this win against Baltimore, Patriots could be 10-6.
Could be.
And
I don't trust Cam, but yeah.
That's scary because this kid Harris is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured out they don't have to throw the ball even 15 times a game
until you get a good quarterback.
Jacoby Myers he's good. He's like a new Edelman.
I like him.
And so you're getting these pieces that they're starting to play together. They're figuring out how to play as a team. They're figuring this out. They're figuring it out. And in 5 years, Patriots will have a quarterback in place. They'll have a bunch of people in place and the system works. Belichick's defensive system works, and he will find, and McDaniels can make anything happen offensively. He's an offensive genius. He will adjust on the fly like he does every single year to his talent.
That's assuming he's still there.
Now, here's an interesting, we're going to go right into the next topic, which I'm really interested in because Logan texted us earlier in the week, and he said, hey, he's talking to this guy. He's been a lifelong Jets fan. And we've been talking on and off the last few weeks about what are the Jets going to do? What should the Jets do? What should the Jets do? And we both have our opinions trading out of the number 1 pick, taking Lawrence and just taking a chance. It's all those things. The Jets are an X factor. Before Logan goes, I think the only thing that matters for the Jets and Jets fans should be getting rid of their head coach. That is the first thing that should happen on every single Jets fan's mouth is fire Gase, and then let's figure it out.
They're keeping him for number 1. That's why they want to keep losing,
right.
Obviously.
So, but I'm very interested, Logan, to hear what and I don't know his name yet, so please give him a shout out, and I'm sure he'll be happy to know that, whoever listens knows he's a Jets fan.
So it's my wife's best friend's husband, Kyle. Shout out Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
New Jersey. He's a lifelong Jets fan, season ticket holder. So we actually saw them last weekend, and I was talking to him about it. I said, so what are your thoughts on potentially having the number 1 pick? He said, first thing he said is trade it. He said the only team that I will not want to trade it with is New England for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons, yep.
So he said trade it, get a first-round pick for this year, a second-round pick this year, and a first-round pick for next year. So if they do that, they will have 6 first-round picks the next 2 first-round.
So who else has 2 first-round picks this year?
Wait a second. He said trade it for only 2 ones, 1 this year, 1 next year, and a 2 this year. That's it?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, dude, that's why Jets fans are horrible. I'm sorry, Kyle. I'm sorry. This year's draft, this pick is worth 3 number
you
ones
realize-
this year, a number 1 next year, at least.
But you have to remember, that's the thing with Trevor Lawrence is I know people say what they want to say. Trevor Lawrence has the highest rating average since Manning out of college.
Yes.
This dude, no matter what people think, he's the real deal. All these scouts, the way they measure him, his stance, his bravado, everything about him is the guy you need.
And I agree with Kyle. You
Yeah.
trade it, but you
I do
don't
too.
trade it for nothing. I mean, if you want to get 2 1s this year, a 1 next year, and a 1 a year after that, and a 2 thrown
I think
in
you
there,
only trade 3 years of ones in a row, though.
you know,
But yeah,
but,
I agree.
You know, like
We did it for RG3.
Yep.
yeah, you know, and
RG knee.
I'm interested to hear what else he has to say.
Yeah, keep
because,
going,
you know,
obviously.
but he lowballed that trading out of that first spot.
Well, that was just like a casual conversation. I didn't tell him I was going on the podcast to talk about it, but if you listen to it, now he knows. But
Well, you tell him he's got to listen now.
yeah, he said he definitely wants to fire Adam Gase, and that their GM Joe Douglas knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He said he's smart. He said they did kind of debacle the Le'Veon Bell thing because they did not utilize him as they should, just because Adam Gase is a complete moron. But he did say that kind of interested me. Like, he wants to get a college coach for the coach next year, and I don't know outside of was it John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh, the one that coaches Michigan. I always mix him up.
Jim
That's
Harbaugh,
a college coach that I could see coming to the NFL next year. But I think they should get somebody like Dan Quinn that was just in Atlanta. I feel like Dan Quinn would do really well with Sam Darnold. They have the talent. Jamison Crowder is really good. Perriman's all right. Mims, Berrios. So they have like talent, but it's not like superstar talent. And Kyle said he doesn't want superstar talent. He wants these low guys. That's why they got rid of Jamal Adams and all that. But they just need to beef up their offensive line. They got
that left tackle's a beast.
Mekhi
Becton
or whatever.
Mekhi
his name
Becton.
is.
Yep, Mekhi. Yep.
He's a beast. And they have Michael Pirine that just came out of Florida. They're not using him as they should. He said the reason why they're not using him, Kyle said they're trying to like keep his legs fresh for next year for the start of the rebuild, if you will.
He was good at Florida, yeah.
But he said in the next few years they should be back to playoff contention, not in the playoffs, but playoff contention.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned Dan Quinn, but I always think about it too because he may be a top college coach. He reminds me of Cliff Kingsbury. It's only a matter of time before he does try to go pro. It's Lincoln Riley with Oklahoma. When does he do it? He's had 3 straight, three? 1, 2, 3, whatever?
He gets paid so much money, though. He won't get that money in the NFL.
I mean, he gets paid, I think his salary is like $7.5 million. Is that a lot for an NFL coach? It sounds like a lot.
I mean, I don't even think Belichick gets that. You know, and so, like, the security in college is a little bit better than, jumping.
But you got to remember, even if he jumps up, you can always come back. There's so many college teams to play for. So if you get the chance, even if it's the Jets with the number 1 whatever pick, he might want to be like, hey, I'll go to the Jets, trade the number 1, get a lot of people out of it. He might want to rebuild team. Like a lot of coaches like that. Like look at Cliff Kingsbury now.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I look at the Jets. I don't think this division's tough. And it's young.
It's very young division.
So it's weird that it's going to be a lot harder to rebuild in this division and then become relevant. It's not going to be impossible because if you trade your number 1 pick and you hit on all these picks that you get in return, okay, and that's huge, and that's what you have to do. And I agree. I like their GM. Yeah. He did really good in Atlanta. He put a lot of talent in Atlanta. It just wasn't coached well.
Now, this is my next question. Logan might have the answer for this. He mentioned, I don't believe his friend said first pick this year and then a first round pick next year and a second this year. I think he said 2 firsts this year. Now, what my question is, if you're going to trade this pick away, I would want more than 1 number 1 pick this year. Who has more than 1 first round pick besides Miami?
That's a few.
That's who you.
I think New England does.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not trading it to New England. You're not going to trade it to Miami because they have Tua. So my next question is, who of the teams with multiple number 1s needs a quarterback? That's who you're targeting.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you want to get the most for the number 1,
or you can get number 1s next year,
and Miami offers you the 3 picks this year to get number 1, you take it. They're not taking Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a top 5 pick because Houston sucks. Okay, so you're going to have a top 5 pick.
But is giving up your 3 building block picks in the first round, is those 3 depth players, possible starters, is there one player up around Trevor Lawrence, offensive defense, that's that much better than giving up those 3 for number 1?
Okay, so
I don't know anybody that good in college.
Here's my draft day movie scenario going in my head, and I want to see if you guys can follow me on this. Okay,
here we go.
All right, so Miami's in Draft Day, the movie. Okay, Kevin Costner sitting there on the phone,
Sandra Bullock,
and he calls up and he's like, "Hey, we'll give you our 3 number 1s this year, and a number 5 or a number 3 next year,
third round
pick next year for your number 1 pick." Jets go, "All right, thanks, bye, we'll take it." Okay, so now you have the number 1 pick. Now you're calling everybody, and you're saying, who wants it?
Yeah.
And you can get future first-round picks
because
from very bad teams. Okay,
the problem
so
is,
it's like you could get their number 1 this year, okay, a number 1 next year, and say a number 1 or a number 2 and a number 3 the year after. Like, you could get these picks. And so if I'm Miami, I'm looking at that going, do I waste all these picks right now this year and pick 3 players where 2 of them might hit or 2 of them might not?
I mean, look at the way they've been building. All 3 are probably going to hit.
Yes, or do you build for even more longevity in the future? And so if I'm Miami, that's an interesting option. And the Jets aren't going to be trading so far back because they're going to get the Texans pick where you're still, I mean, you could get the best offensive lineman, the best linebacker, the best cornerback at that number 5 pick, because the 3 out of 4 picks in the top are going to be quarterbacks, in my opinion. But I don't know what you think on that, Logan. I don't know if I've watched Draft Day too many times, and
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. Like, I'm at a loss with it. Like, it's just, there's so many things they could do with it. But, I mean, if we're talking about the Jets, so just make sure we're clear, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the Jets.
Yeah, if I'm the Jets, if I don't get what I want, I take Trevor Lawrence. But I'm sure somebody, like, I could see Chicago trying to trade up. I could see, I can't think of any other teams off the top of my head, but I can see, like,
Jacksonville.
Well, there'd be 1 pick, but I don't think they would give a king's ransom for 1 position when they can get, like, Justin Fields at number 2 or Trey Lance or whoever.
Right. Now, what happens if Lawrence says, "I'm not going to New York. You can draft me, but I'm not going"? Like, this is the chance you had. Like, this is the thing. Lawrence has already been playing the game of, don't pick me, New York. I'll stay in school. You know what I mean? Like, you're playing this game if you're New York, and there's no guarantee Lawrence is going to even want to play for you.
If they get enough picks, and Trevor Lawrence decides to come out of the draft into the draft, I feel like he could just talk like, "Hey, we're gonna build it right." I think that he should be okay with it, but I don't see anybody being like dumb-faced Eli Manning and saying, "I'm not playing for you." Like, you take your opportunity and you roll with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't want to interrupt, but I was searching here on the phone. That's why I was quiet for a few minutes. Sorry. Teams with multiple first-round picks. Okay, this year, Dolphins, they have 3. The Jets have 2, and it would appear to me that the Jaguars have 2. That's all I'm seeing so far.
Yep.
Only teams with multiple picks. So the only team I'm seeing offering both first rounds could be somebody like the Jaguars to move up just 1 spot from 2 to 1, because as of right now, Jaguars have the number 2 pick.
And if
so
you could get,
and the Jets would move down 1 spot.
Yeah.
And you'd give them your 2, and the Jaguars also have pick 26. So Jets would get 2 and 26 in the first round, and they'd probably get whatever picks Jaguars have. I think they have more. They have 3 in the second round. So that'd be something like the Jaguars would be able to get their quarterback of the future, and the Jets would be like, "Oh, so we're giving up 1 for 2? Oh, we'll get that tackle out of Oregon, Panay Sawai or whatever his name is, and something like that. So that's just something I was thinking. I was trying to figure out who had multiple first-rounders. Mm-hmm. And of all those teams, nobody's going to give the Jets what they want for the first-round pick. There's not that team because Miami's in the same division and they have their quarterback.
Right.
But I know what you're saying about the draft day thing. I get that. So now I understand. It just if you're the Jets, are you fielding calls now?
I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they had nothing to lose. They're 0-9.
Yeah, why not ask around? Be like, hey, if there's a chance that we don't have any wins, like, well, do you want to make a deal? Like, I know it's stupid, but even a situation like Dallas, like if the Jets take it, like, get Dallas's pick, get Jalen Smith, get Zeke, get a couple dudes. I don't know.
You're both a lot younger than I am. You're both the same age. I want you guys to go and watch the 30-30 that ESPN did on Jimmy Johnson. And the trade he made.
The 7-time NASCAR champion?
No. The coach of the Cowboys. And the trade he made with
Herschel Walker trade.
With Minnesota.
As a Dallas fan, I know that trade.
Yes. And what I want you guys to do is just see what he did with that trade.
The people what he gave up.
What he gained.
Well, I mean, what gained. Sorry, what he gained.
Right, but he gained, and everybody said, oh, he gained players. But it was, if this player doesn't play, I get this first-round pick this year. If this player doesn't play, I get this pick that year.
It's a smart trade.
And he built a squad with that. That is something that I'm telling you is very lost on today's NFL. And I really think the Jets have an opportunity. And I'm going to throw it out there, Miami has an opportunity to say, oh, we're going to give up 3 first-round picks this year for the number 1 pick. But then we're going to say trade it to Chicago, okay, who traded away their future for Mitch Trubisky. Don't forget that.
They still skipped on Patrick Mahomes.
You know, like,
I mean, you guys traded all that away for RG3, so don't start talking, Logan. No, I'm just kidding, bud. I'm just kidding.
You know, but it's just interesting what could happen, and it's going to be a very interesting offseason.
This is going to be a fun offseason.
You know, where you're going to see a lot of things, like in a lot of rumors. So real quickly, I want to touch on something that Christian sent in a text today to us. It's about the Cowboys, something the Cowboys are either rumored to be thinking about doing, rumored to be doing, or just a radio host saying something that he thinks they should do.
So I'll read it for all of our fans. I hope this goes viral and we're the first people to actually leak a real thing.
Okay.
So 105.3 The Fan, very, very, very popular Dallas radio station. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's a Dallas fan can find it on any radio station. I've listened to it before. I don't know the person's name, but he said, I think when we get to the end of the 2021 season, the Cowboys will look to release Ezekiel Elliott. I think they're going to look at their financial aspect because I think they're committed to Dak being the quarterback of the future. And I think they're going to just look at it financially and look at his production and go, guys, it might be best to take a hit now and open up money for later, seeing as how Tony Pollard's been playing. And this is saying this is the first start of whispers out of Frisco that there might be big players being traded. Jalen Smith's name was mentioned in that too. So this brings me to my next point, and I'll bring up the Jets again. Situation, if the Jets, like Darnold, and they get a new coach, a Zeke and a Jalen Smith with their number 4 pick might be something intriguing if Dallas wants to make that trade. But again, if Dallas is trading away Zeke, they're committing to Dak. They have to pick one or the other because of the money.
Okay.
For me, I'd rather keep Zeke and get rid of Dak if you're just asking me, because I think the run game's important. But Pollard's playing out of his mind right now, and that brings me to my next point. I'll let you guys go before I get into it, but that brings me to the next point. Like, your backup's playing better than you with the same O-line.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that? Like, I'm not saying it's true. It's just a rumor.
Yep.
They did say this on a TV show, just like we're kind of a show. So it's more of just like a BS thing right now. But, wow. What if that could be a thing? Who would be listening for that offer for Zeke Elliott?
Go ahead, Logan.
I mean, I could see that happening, but I highly doubt it.
It'd be so expensive.
When Zeke was wanting that extension, he was holding out and hanging out in Cabo. I don't think Jerry Jones would want to get rid of him if he just paid him all that money. So I think Zeke is going to be there for the long haul, and I think that's just the radio host just talking out of his ass. I mean, it's not a terrible take, but I don't see Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones moving on from Zeke, because
I don't either.
When he has a healthy offensive line, Zeke is a top 3-4 running back in the
league.
Like
most running backs, they need a good line. You're not running very well without it.
Exactly. So if you have a good line and you're going to run the ball, you don't really need a quarterback as good as Dak Prescott. You can have somebody in there that you can try to develop.
That's why, as much as I love Dak,
so,
the more it goes on, the more I'm like, if we had an opportunity to let him walk or something, I think that's our best bet right now, get another quarterback, because if you can just focus on the run game, play like, I guess, kind of like San Francisco's doing, focus on the run game, any quarterback can really make that team work. There's a lot of talent there.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark. Again, I want to say one thing Logan just said. I agree, this dude's probably blowing smoke out of his bum. I don't probably think it's a real take.
Yep.
But it's just something to think about, that could be an option. If Dallas is looking to regroup, that could be a thing.
Okay. The money's a wash. You're going to pay Dak more than what you're paying Zeke.
Of course.
Okay, so saying that it's a money thing, I get it.
Because we're going to have to eat some cap this year, too.
Right. If you cut Zeke, you're going to eat most of his money.
It'd be cheaper to trade him.
You'd have to trade him and then say, hey, we'll take on a quarter of his salary, the guaranteed money, or we'll pay half the guaranteed money, you pay half, take him off our hands with, and give us X, Y, and Z. And then you pay Dak, I don't know. But my opinion is this. You know what you got with the Cowboys. You know what you have with Zeke. You know what you have with Dak. And you have not done a damn thing with either. Okay? My whole philosophy on the Cowboys is blow it up. Blow it up big. Jerry's never done that. Jerry will never do that. But blow it up big. Trade Amari for what you can get for him. Trade Zeke for what you can get for him. Let Dak walk. Okay? And you just rebuild from the inside out. Okay? Because you have to.
This is where you make that Zeke trade with Miami.
This is what Dallas did the first time.
Yeah.
That they built it from the offensive line out, and everybody said, "Oh, they need this position, they need this position, they need Johnny Manziel, blah blah blah," and they took Zach Martin.
This is why
they took the offensive lineman, they took the defensive lineman, and they know how to build.
That's why I want to align with our fourth pick. I want that lineman out of Oregon.
I say you blow this team up. You put too much money into mediocre. Okay, and I think Zeke, and I said it in a text today, and I honestly believe this. Our friend Chandler, who's been on the show, he's a diehard Cowboys fan, said, the hell with Zeke, Pollard's better. Okay? At this point in time, I can't argue with you, but what I think happened is Zeke got his money, and he doesn't care about football anymore.
Can I add one thing to this? Because I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'll let Logan go in a second. I have noticed something. I did say Pollard's been running better. I went and watched a couple games so far this year, and I'm not saying Pollard's better. Let me not say that. Let me rephrase. When I went through and watched these games, what I noticed was as Zeke was getting the ball on first and second down, 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, they were getting the ball, they were shoving the box in. Then it's 3rd and 6, they would look like they're throwing the ball, and Pollard would get 12 yards because they're playing pass defense. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen Pollard get the ball on 1st and 2nd against a rush defense. He's only getting the ball on 4th and 13s, and they're just running it to get field position. So my thing is, you haven't seen Pollard as the first down back yet, really? So is he better than Zeke? He's not built better than Zeke. Pollard's not going to be a 3-down back. He's too small. So you're going to have to do a running back by committee if you move into that.
How long did Zeke play in college?
I think he was
2 years?
2 years, 3 years?
I think he was 3. I think he graduated as a junior. No, you have to play 3 years in college, so he graduated as a junior.
You have to be a junior. You don't have to play 3 years.
You have to be 3 years in. You don't have to play 3 years.
Right. So
one of them could have been a redshirt year. I think it might have been.
So what if, and he was a bell cow in college.
Yeah.
They handed him the ball a lot, and they threw him the ball a lot. He was a big part of that offense for 3
What if he's
run
down like DeMarco Murray?
What if he's done?
That's why we didn't pay Murray.
What if he's on the second half of his life? Like, what if he's, Sean Alexander all of a sudden, which I know that's a name that some of our younger viewers might not know, where he's MVP of the season,
but look
30
at
plus
DeMarco
touchdowns.
Murray. We ran DeMarco Murray into the ground and then traded him away, and he's been nothing. He's an ESPN analyst and a college football analyst. I just saw him in a West Virginia game.
And so, I mean, it is a possibility there, but I think Zeke got paid, and he doesn't, and football's not a passion anymore.
Yeah.
Like Le'Veon Bell. Money, and he's okay with that.
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, this is just something that's interesting to me because as a Dallas fan, if you could get a trade for him for Miami, one or two Miami's first-round picks, if you're looking at Miami right now, could you imagine Zeke on that field? Zeke could really help them. He wouldn't be used like we use him. He wouldn't be ran 25 times a game. But think about it. You get a couple picks from there's your quarterback, your lineman, your rebuild for Dallas. You let Dak walk to the Patriots, to the Washington, whatever they're called this year.
Right.
That's just something I thought about. Is if they were to trade Zeke, it would make me happy knowing what we could get back from this. It's been a long time since you've traded a 25-year-old stud running back. It's been years since somebody's traded a running back that good in the middle of his,
Yeah.
at this age.
I mean, I agree.
Can you imagine Peterson getting traded after his 5th season with Vikings? That's a big trade.
It's interesting to talk about.
Whether
I don't think it will happen.
I don't think so either.
Next topic is a quick question. I want a yes or no to this question from both of you, okay?
I'll let Logan go first.
Is KC better than Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the reason why I asked this is one of the topics we want to talk about are the Steelers frauds or are they for real? Okay. And I have this interesting stat right here. Okay. Because I'm saying the Steelers are for real. Okay. And here's why. This is with KC. Everybody says Pittsburgh hasn't played anybody, correct?
That's what they say.
They haven't.
Okay.
Really.
All right. So the Steelers are 9-0. The Chiefs are 8-1. Okay. The opponent's combined record against the Steelers is 33-47-2.
33-47-2.
Yep.
So they're playing, what is that, a .400 schedule?
Something
around there. Okay.
So the Chiefs' opponent's combined record is 33-50.
So that's a little bit under 400.
Steelers' point differential is 100. They've outscored their opponents by 100 all year. Okay. Chiefs' point differential is 103. How can you say the Chiefs are better? Like, how can you say Pittsburgh's a fraud?
So to me, I'll make it.
It's just the numbers don't prove
so
that the Chiefs are better. Now, eye test.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say Mahomes is better than Ben. The offense is better and everything. But my thing is this: is for everybody that says their 9-0 record is fraudulent, then the Chiefs' 8-1 record is fraudulent.
Yeah. So to me, I'll answer this quickly. If people think that the Steelers are fraudulent, they're idiots. They don't. That's just me. I've seen enough of them. Are you about to say because somebody said they were?
No, I think Logan thinks they're fraudulent.
I'm not saying they're frauds. Like I think,
It's rude to call our guest an idiot.
Well, whatever.
Come on, Logan.
Their defense is just insane,
and their offense is doing exactly what it takes to win.
A huge reason why they are 9-0 right now. If their defense was mediocre, they would not be 9-0.
That's why the Chiefs are 8-1 because they have a great offense and their defense is mediocre. So that's what I was about to say, and I'll let Logan finish. That's what I'm saying about the Chiefs is that the Chiefs' offense is so good, but their defense is 17th in the league. So that's why they are scoring 40 points a game. Their teams are scoring against them so much. The Steelers' defense, to me, is the best defense in the league right now. But the problem is one of the best, top 3.
Oh yeah, I'm going to say Miami's is pretty close.
So top 3.
Miami and Indy are the other two.
Baltimore, they're up there too.
Baltimore's dropped the last.
But they've dropped a little bit. So you're looking at these teams saying, so why does the Steelers win? Why do they win? It's because Big Ben's kind of playing like the Rams are playing. You're not really turning the ball over. You're doing just enough to win, kind of like the Panthers are doing. But your defense is doing really well. Could you imagine the Chiefs with that defense right now? I don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, no.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think they're frauds, but I definitely think the chance to get exposed is easier for them than the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's just me. I think they'll be the first ones to lose over the Chiefs.
Okay.
And I know the Chiefs have a loss. I understand they did lose a random game to Vegas, but it's just a better team in offense to me.
Okay. I mean, I just look at the Steelers and I see a complete team.
Oh, I agree. I think they're complete. Their defense is just way better than the offense.
The one thing on offense that Pittsburgh does need to work on is their running game because they haven't had a running game in the past few weeks.
No, the past few weeks, you're right. But, the Bengals have a good run defense.
Yep.
They stopped the run. But Ben looked like a 20-year-old Ben throwing all over them last week. So it's, but I just found it interesting because I see a lot. And it's not us in the group. It's not anybody saying anything. It's a lot of media are saying Pittsburgh is not playing anybody. Wait till they play, and everybody was saying Tennessee is a top 5 team, and they beat the crap out of Tennessee. Like, they beat up Tennessee for 3 quarters, and then, it got close in the 4th. But
I want to.
Go ahead.
I was saying we're getting about 10 minutes away now, so I want to bring up the last question, unless you have another one.
Nope.
Okay. Last question is for both of you.
Okay.
One game we didn't talk about. We have not talked about Washington and Cincinnati.
Yes.
So I believe you pick Cincinnati,
Yep.
Mark. I pick Cincinnati, and obviously Logan pick Washington.
Yep.
So we have exactly 7 minutes. I'm going to let you all go at this.
Okay.
Why do you think each team's going to win? And this is my next question. Who gets to the playoffs first in the next 5 years?
Okay.
You guys can pick who goes first, though.
All right. Go ahead, Logan.
I was going to say, you go ahead, Mark.
All right.
All right.
All right. If you want me to go first, I'll go first. Playoff-wise,
Yep.
I think
you don't have to win. Just get there.
I think the Bengals are closer.
Okay.
Okay. And the main reason why I say that is because the Bengals hit a home run on their quarterback. They are in many close games. They should win these close games as soon as they get their defense solidified. The division is falling, and I had this interesting conversation with somebody. The only team in the division I'm scared about for the next 3 years is Cleveland. Baltimore's coming back to the pack. Baltimore is in danger of not even making the playoffs this year. Okay? This game against the Titans for the Ravens is huge. If they lose this game, they are not in the playoffs as of this week. Now, the Bengals will have to jump over them. Ben's not getting any younger, and they do not have a succession plan in place for Big Ben. Okay? And they keep winning, so they can't draft high for a quarterback. So, and every backup they've drafted, he's been coming backwards. Are they going to pay Baker Mayfield in Cleveland? What is that team going to entail in the next couple years? So I look at the Bengals having an easier road to make the playoffs. And I think because they hit on their quarterback.
Okay.
The Redskins have to draft a quarterback. I love Alex Smith, but you only have a year and a half left of Alex Smith. And I think, yes, they have McLaurin, they have Gibson, they need offensive line. Bengals offensive line is being figured out, and it's closer. Defensively, Washington defensive front seven is better, but their cornerbacks aren't. And Cincinnati's cornerbacks, so defensively, I think Washington has an edge, but offensively, which is more important in today's NFL, the Bengals are closer, and the NFC is a lot tougher than the AFC.
So I'm going to finish with this and let Logan go. The Bengals right now have the 23rd ranked offense, 32nd ranked defense. So go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, Mark, I'm actually going to agree with you that the Bengals are closer to making the playoffs before we are. That's just because they had their quarterback, and I think in T. Higgins they found A.J. Green's replacement. Mm-hmm. Like you said, their offensive line they're figuring it out, and they just have to work on their the defense. Like they just have to start getting pressure on the on the other quarterbacks. And then Joe Burrow, like as an LSU fan, he's just going to light this league up in a few years. I would not be surprised if the Bengals get on the right track. I could see him being in an MVP conversation for a few times in his career.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
With Washington, I'm not going to say we're so close, but we're close. We still need to figure out who we are. There's been 4 or 5 games this year that we could have won, but we've just been making costly mistakes, like the 2 losses against the Giants, the loss against Cleveland, when Dwayne Haskins basically just threw that one away with all the turnovers. And then last week when we lost to Detroit, a stupid penalty by Chase Young put one of the best kickers in recent years in field goal range to drill a 59-yard field goal to win the game. So we are close. We have a lot of work to do on our offensive line. I think to start the work there, we have to re-sign Brandon Sheriff. I mean, he's a top tackle or top guard in the league. We have the weapons on offense. Logan Thomas is not a great tight end, but he's a serviceable tight end.
Mm-hmm. Not used well.
What's that?
He's not used very well.
He's not used well.
Me and Mark were talking about that the other day.
Yeah. Like Scary Terry is just a dog. He's going. I will stamp this down right now. He is going to be a top 5 receiver at some point in his career. But our receiving core outside of Terry, on paper, it's absolute garbage. But they're young, fast, and feisty, and they will get possessions and move the ball down the field. We just need a quarterback.
Okay, so my question to you is this, last question to tie this up. We're both going to have a top 10 pick this year. Okay, as things look right now, both teams will have a top 10 pick unless one of us goes on a winning streak. Do you want to spend your top pick in this year's draft on a quarterback?
No, I do not.
Okay. What position do you want?
I want to go after offensive lineman. And if he's there, I want to go after Kyle Pitts from Florida, the tight end. So what I think we should do is, more than likely we'll have pick 3 or 4. I say we should trade that back mid-first round, gain more picks, and then with the first pick in the first round that we're going to have, if he's available, we take Kyle Pitts. Say he's at like 12 or 13. We take him, and then after that we go after offensive line, and then we go secondary help.
Okay.
And
this
then,
is one.
like I said in the group chat earlier, let's go into next season with Alex Smith and Kyle Allen. Yeah, Alex Smith and Kyle Allen as the starters. Get rid of Dwayne Haskins. We don't need that toxic crap going on anymore. But yeah, I think we just wait until 2022 to draft a quarterback. And
I want to make I agree. I want to make that quick. I agree with both y'all. I think the Bengals are closer because Washington has to figure out that quarterback and is going to have to groom the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing about Washington I didn't say is that right now they have the 7th ranked total defense, first and in front 7. So honestly, I know you said drafting secondary. They've really got to work on that offense. They're 30th.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the Bengals don't have their offense or defense top 20. But Washington does have a top 10 defense. So it comes to a point where on paper, it looks like Washington's playing better. But the positions you need to make a run at the playoffs, I think the Bengals have solidified. Mm-hmm. But the Bengals have to work on that defense because the offense is just giving up. It's just not going to work.
Bengals in the offseason in the draft, they need to take the best defensive player available at linebacker or cornerback.
In almost every round.
And then they need to re-sign Bates, the safety. He's one of the best safeties in the league. But they need help. And I don't want a defensive tackle or defensive lineman. I want linebacker or cornerback. Right, arguably the best cornerback in the draft if you can get him. But that's my take. I agree with Logan on that one.
Anything else you guys got?
No, I'm good. I think we ran through some good topics this week. Anybody that's listening, please reach out to us on Facebook and let us know what you want us to talk about next week.
Let us know if you want to be on the show.
Yeah, we'll take phone calls from anybody. So let us know. And Logan, thank you very much. Any last words?
Thanks for having me on again, guys. I hope to do it again soon. And Mark, I'm really looking forward to our matchup in the Legends League this week.
Yeah,
and your teams and your fantasy teams.
I would like to say on air, I haven't said it in the group chat yet, but I have conceded that this will be the first year in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that I will not be making the playoffs.
I would like to point out this is my 4th year, and every year I've gotten closer to the playoffs. Started at the bottom, I'm 6th.
But I am
10, 9, 8, 7.
I look at my team and I did something wrong because I don't even have 2 keepers on my team.
Yeah, your team is.
I look at my team and I don't even know what I did because half of my team is keepers.
So I'm in rough shape. I'll be lucky if I win another game this year in that league.
It's okay, Pumpkin. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Yeah. So, but other than that, thank you very much, Logan. We'll talk to you again soon. And everybody else, have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace out.